most helpful, supportive things that friends have done to me or done for me really is just to give me time and space. Just sometimes not even necessarily to have to say anything, but just knowing that there was someone there who was kind enough to give up some time just to listen and not to judge. It just gives you more of a sense of being validated. You know, if there's somebody else, just another human being there who's prepared to hear you and believe you, I think that's really important. Just to help somebody feel that they're being believed, because there's an awful lot, you know, when you go through abuse and stuff in families where you're being scapegoated and told that you've got it wrong, you're making too much of a fuss about it, you know, just get on with you. My mother frequently used to just say, just get on with your life, you know, just put it behind you. And, you know, and you just can't. And just having somebody else there that's just prepared to give you that time and you know, so just take as long as you like, you know. Just people that have helped keep me calm, really. You know, if you are perhaps trying to support somebody who's getting a bit agitated, just to help them calm down, just to remind them to breathe and just take their time. Sometimes to help people just stay grounded, ask them questions about what's going on in their everyday life, just to give them something else to think about, or just asking somebody to just tell you what they can see in the room or what they can smell, what they can hear, just kind of grounding things to just to keep people calm. But I think the important thing is just to help people feel that they're being listened to and validated and not judged.
You know, I can remember my psychiatrist again saying to someone that came to an appointment with me, the only person who has a worse job than you is Ruth. You know, it's very hard and challenging watching someone that you know and care about going through sometimes horrendous symptoms. I mean, it can be really scary and upsetting. And if at all possible, if people who are looking, obviously look after yourselves as well. If you're supporting someone who has a complex dissociative disorder, make sure, like I have dissociative identity disorder, make sure you've got care and support, you've got people you can talk to, safe people, you know, who have an understanding. And don't be too hard on yourself, you know, it's tough going. But if you can, just stick with it, be accepting, not judgmental. For most people, particularly when it's after a long delay, the thing is helping a person to recover from the effects on them. It's not really about tracking down crime numbers and what have you. That's not what it's about. It's about helping the person to live with and work through the impact it's having on them. So patience, kindness, acceptance, and sticking with them if you possibly can. Making sure, you know, as I say, make sure you look after yourself as well. And explain to them if either one of you need time out to, you know, gather yourselves again or whatever, be understanding it if you possibly can of that. And that it's not a rejection, it's about each person trying to really be as stable and as clear and as get their thinking as good as they possibly can.
If I'm telling somebody something, I don't want them to just sit there blankly. I want them to be listening, and I know that they are listening, but I don't want to overwhelm them either. So it's getting that balance. But the people who've been most helped to me have been the people who will say, how are you? And actually want you to say how you really are. Only I could make changes. If I tried to follow changes that were offered and made to me, I might do it for a short term, but it wasn't sustainable. People who could actually be with me in the darkest moments actually gave me the will to stay alive. They really did. And that's something that I that I'm so grateful for. You can't change things for people. It's only they can make those decisions when it's right for them to make those changes. But you stay alongside, validating, patient, but sometimes be human. If you've had enough, just say, do you know what? I need a bit of a break now. And that's no harm thing.
I still have this good friend who, let's suppose I was triggered towards the end of the class. You then move into your next class. So my bag, my belongings are all in the classroom. So she would know the designated room and she would bring my belongings to the room and would be incredibly respectful. She would open the door and she wouldn't look and she would put the belongings in the corner of the room without looking. And it's only in very recent times that she has come to know that I have DID. You know, she never pried, she just accepted me for who I was. We are very scared of anger. I can't count how many times I'll say to my therapist, you know, are you angry? She's not, but the tiniest nuance. Or we'll start the session and within 5 minutes, myself or a part will say, you seem different today. And she'll say, I'm really tired. I was up with the dog all night. Or, but we've read that. We've just read that immediately. So you're very, very adept at reading people, reading their moods. It can be the slightest nuance, but you'll pick it up. And I think clinicians need to be aware of that. Now, we're all human, we all have different moods, but it can really impact someone with a trauma background. Because what they're really doing is, if you imagine when you're a child and you're anticipating being hurt, you're going to read that person's face all the time, interpret their tone of voice. Are they going to be safe today? Are they not going to be safe today? You know, you do it instinctively. I know that TST are doing an incredible campaign to check with me first. And I think, you know, it's so imperative that the medical profession has a good understanding of the impact of trauma on a survivor. So that, for example, when a survivor of sexual abuse is going to have an intimate procedure like a cervical smear, they know how to treat that person with sensitivity, with kindness, giving them control, empowering them. And my experience is that does not happen. It's so important that we get this happening, you know, which is why what TST is doing is incredible. I do have a very good doctor now, an incredible doctor who gives me all those tools. She gives me, so if I'm having a cervical smear, she'll allow an hour and a half. That's to sit with me to begin with, get me into a calm space, to take time with the procedure, to stop where we need to stop, you know, to check in with me all the time,